give our viewers a sense of what they should expect. You've been speaking to several people across the government. What are the specifics people should look out for when this reshuffle happens tomorrow? Himanshu.
6 कैबिनेट मंत्री नए इंडेक्ट किए जाएंगे इस कैबिनेट के अंदर, लेकिन देखना यह होगा कि किन मंत्रियों को जो है वो ड्रॉप किया जाएगा। लेकिन इतना जरूर है कि सभी मंत्रियों के कामकाज की जो रिव्यू है वो खुद प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी ने की है और उसके बाद ये तय किया है कि किस मंत्री को बाहर किया जाएगा, किसको जो है मंत्रिमंडल में शामिल किया जाएगा। लेकिन इतना जरूर है जो 5 राज्यों के चुनाव हैं उनके ऊपर फोकस होगा।
There is going to be a huge political footprint of this exercise. One thing is very clear, that seeing the challenge that the government knew its image is dented because of the second surge in the last few months, and there are few challenges in future in terms of 5 elections which may impact the 2024 elections. There is a huge political messaging that Rahul, almost every induction or exclusion seems to be sending out a political message of a compulsion or preparing for a challenge.
As far as civil aviation ministry is concerned, the biggest priority is somehow to get the albatross called Air India in terms of the financial burden off the neck of Bharat Sarkar, because a huge chunk of that money has to be diverted or should be diverted to social welfare programs.
For long this government has borne the criticism that it lacks intellectual heft and that there is lack of talent, like so I think people who are, and the fact is that there are people who are they are not bereft of administrative experience and they are sitting on the bench. There's Jyotiraditya Scindia, Sarbanda Sonowal, Sushil Modi, Bejayant Panda. There are others in the wings also. So as per rumors, they will find their way into this cabinet.
For technocrats to work with bureaucrats, not always easy. You had someone like Jayant Sinha. Jayant Sinha himself comes with a background of investment banking, becomes a minister, didn't survive the second, wasn't in Modi 2.0. Suresh Prabhu, politician and also been a banker, didn't enter Modi 2.0. So I'm saying it isn't as if one can say that technocrats or those who had a sort of managerial financial background necessarily make good ministers.
The issue is, what is the problem that you want to solve? So here's the first question: privatization. What's happening? This government needs money. If you want to fix the economy, you need to privatize or you monetize the assets. Can you do it without a minister for privatization? Second point, health sector. What is happening to, in 2017 you announced 1.5 lakh community health centers, wellness centers and stuff. How many of them have been built? Devendra Fadnavis as of today or tomorrow might be free. Why not make him the coordinator for implementing the farm laws? Why not bring in a person for e-governance? Those are the questions that need to be asked.
18 to 20 ministers to be brought in, is that correct? And does that include the likes of Jyotiraditya Scindia, Sarbanand Sonowal, almost for certain, all the gaps to be filled in? Or can we expect surprises with technocrats also being brought in from outside the political system?
One thing is very clear, Rajiv, 22 odd changes are likely. This is what sources have consistently been telling us, that this includes new faces being brought in, reshuffle changes, people being dropped and brought in their places. The definite one element is also that the top 4 are not changing. That is home, finance, external affairs and defense. That means it's not one of those big ticket changes. It could well be both in terms of an administrative course correction fix and also a political fix.
Most of the economic decisions are anyway taken by the PM himself, and he's pretty hands-on when it comes to economic issues and economic policies. So I think at the end of the day, I don't see much changes happening on the economic ministries, the finance or the commerce ministry. We do expect that things in the future with a fresh team will add more impetus to various subsectors and bring in more momentum into certain economies which can bring in more jobs.
The cabinet reshuffle is about time. It should have happened much earlier. You've got about 10 or 12 areas that you've identified that are key. Commerce, for instance. Why is it with Piyush Goyal? He's a highly competent minister. I'm not commenting on that. But commerce today is critical because of, if you have started with Atmanirbhar Bharat, you want India's exports to go up, then you need a full-time minister who can direct his energies and not be divided. You might have excellent ministers, I'm saying, who can do both. But ideally, you should have a champion that will take your commerce forward.
what the Prime Minister certainly needs to do is at this midway point of his second term, infuse greater energy and some fresh impetus, and this can come in if he brings in new faces. He also cannot be oblivious to the need to get the social messaging right, to fill in some of the gaps as far as the states are concerned, and therefore he will also need to correct some of the caste imbalance that has come about in the politics of Uttar Pradesh, where the BJP-led government has now come to be identified with a particular caste.
Is Jyotiraditya Scindia perhaps a done deal, reward for Madhya Pradesh?
Yes, Gaurav, it's almost certain that Jyotiraditya Scindia is likely to be now part of the Council of Ministers of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Primarily, if you look at, he has had a long wait. He brings a youthful set of legs compared to older ministers, also an experience. See, Gaurav, this is a government which is short of people with a lot of experience as far as administration is concerned. Jyotiraditya Scindia was a minister in the UPA term. Also, he brings a sizable regional electoral presence for the BJP.
What does Narayan Rane being brought in, if at all, mean for all that speculation about the BJP and the Shiv Sena trying to come together, or you know, relationship warming once again, and all that conversation about Amir Khan and Kiran Rao kind of a relationship?
Narayan Rane has been re-established as a leader who can make a difference in Maharashtra. Narayan Rane, who recently joined BJP before 2019, and he was made a member of Rajya Sabha, but he was of course not happy with that. He's the only one who can take on Shiv Sena. The BJP leaders may think in some other ways, but Narayan Rane, his son, were known to take on Shiv Sena, specifically the Thakres in the region like Konkan, Mumbai, and Thane, where he has his sphere of influence. So it looks like that the BJP wants to send a clear message.
Is the big focus in this cabinet reshuffle going to be Uttar Pradesh?
Definitely from now on the focus will be in Uttar Pradesh, where there will be multiple factors, and especially after COVID and the equation between alliances in Uttar Pradesh, we have seen that there are several frictions, and Yogi Adityanath government was also on a sticky wicket. So, and we have seen in the neighboring Uttarakhand what happened. So, considering all these things, the Modi government will be very careful in accommodating all the grievances in this cabinet reshuffle. So, we'll see probably certain interesting faces from Uttar Pradesh.